and welcome to Hug Jacket Asylum. Strap in and make yourself comfortable. You're in for a long stay.
Good evening, loonies, and welcome to the Hug Jacket Gamers podcast. I'm Eric Thrasher.
I'm Tor.
I'm Brooklyn.
I'm Peter.
And I'm Sarah.
And we've got a couple of guests with us tonight. Brooklyn, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Alright, my name's Brooklyn, and in the past I've played games like Pokemon and Borderlands and Diablo. I tend to really like RPG games.
I am Sarah, and the most recent game that I've played is Grand Theft Auto 5 in first person on the PlayStation 4. And oh my god, driving is hard.
Right.
Hell yeah.
I personally hate driving games.
Yeah. Women and driving. What? There's something to be said about that.
Not on this podcast.
No, I'm just. I mean, like, no, there's not. I was just kidding. Sorry. Men and driving. Also, that's also a thing.
Yeah, we're really good at it. I noticed.
I'm the only one here without a girlfriend, and I can say whatever the fuck I want about
The distinct sound of backpedaling.
So we're gonna go ahead and take some time to get personal and talk about our personal lives. I've been up to seeing a bunch of movies. Brooklyn and I saw It Follows, a horror movie about an STD. We saw The Avengers, which is basically an action movie about an STD. And then more recently, we went and saw Mad Max.
I was there too.
Yeah, and Tor was there.
Yeah.
It was great. Go see it right now. Pause the podcast, go see Mad Max, and then come back and listen to the rest of the podcast.
Yeah. Or really, I mean, you could listen to the podcast while watching Mad Max because, like, it's just a badass movie. Like,
You don't really
especially
need
if
the
you're seeing it
dialogue.
the second time, which you probably are.
Are you saying that you don't really need the dialogue for Mad Max? You could just, is it all spectacle?
No, the
Not at
second
least
time.
for the first half.
Yeah.
Okay.
The second time you could probably just listen to the podcast and watch Mad Max.
Okay. All right.
It's pretty awesome.
I haven't even seen it the first time,
Yeah.
but
Witness
it's definitely...
me.
Huh?
Nothing.
But you will have seen it.
I will have seen it shortly.
So, Tor, what have you been up to this past couple weeks?
I've been up to some things that suck, but other than that, I played some PlanetSide 2, which was fun. That game for a free-to-play game is, oh my god, awesome. And some Witcher 3.
Woo! Yeah, I think we can all say that we've delved a little bit into that.
Yeah,
So
we've all circle jerked about The Witcher on the patio briefly, and then
Yeah.
I think we might want to save that for our later segment.
Yeah.
So
But I
just
mean, like-
just kind of stuff that you've been doing, like extracurricular, non-video game-ular.
oh yeah,
Video game Miller.
Yes.
Chillaxing and
About
stuff.
composing music, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah, you
well-
compose music. That's like a profession of yours.
I've been working on some tunes here and there. Some stuff that kind of rivals back to the days of yore of Castlevania.
Hell yeah.
And, yeah, the Tor project's coming along. It's getting there.
Very cool.
How about you, Brooklyn?
Well, as Eric had mentioned, we've been doing a lot of movies lately. I experienced the Cine Capri for the first time, and also IMAX 3D. I'm from a very small town with one movie theater. I'm also prepping for a trip back home to that small town of Fairbanks, Alaska, which is really exciting. And other than that, I've just been working and trying to get out and explore more of Phoenix, which has been new to me.
That was a high
fives
five.
all around.
Yeah.
We'll edit that high five out. Don't worry.
God damn it.
Peter, how about yourself?
Today I shaved my testicles, and it was my once weekly Wednesday sacrifice to
How do you
the
go
sheep
about
god.
doing that? Like,
It's very complicated. Because girls always complain about how difficult it is to shave down there.
yeah, but there's like wrinkles and folds all over the place.
Yeah, it's like I try a different method every week, and there's thousands, so I don't think I'll be able to go through them in my entire lifetime. But I will say, if you like dip dip the sack into an ice bath.
Oh Jesus.
And then you slather.
Rub up the skin a little bit.
Yeah, and then you slather just the shaving cream on there. It makes it a little bit easier for most of the hairs, but then you'll always miss one or two, and it'll bother you later in the day.
Yeah.
They'll be
It's
back
e-
in greater numbers.
Yeah, and it's even worse when somebody notices. They're like, "You missed a spot."
And you
How
do
many
that.
people are noticing your missed hair
At
on
least-
the testicles?
At least 2 every day.
7. And that works for all 3 balls.
Yes.
All right.
You ever thought of just like dipping them in Nair?
Ooh.
Just going razor
God,
free.
that sounds terrible.
I think that's cheating. I actually is it a
Nair's
no
painful.
or a nu something like that? It's like a little electric razor, but instead of cutting your hair, it has a bunch of these grappling hooks on a rotator, and as you pass it over your skin, it just tears out
Okay.
your hair follicles
Maybe
by the
you should
root.
try threading.
Threading,
Oh no,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
even worse. Jesus Christ.
so you can thread
We've got some sadists in the house.
you can thread your eyebrows. I had no idea you could thread your testicles.
You might even be
haters.
able to get some shapes in there.
All right, audience at home, if you have a preferred method of shaving your balls, go ahead and let us know in a comment somewhere, and we'll appreciate it. We'll mention you. That's
We
what
don't
we'll do.
we don't want women to feel left out either. So women, if you have any suggestions as to how to shave your balls, go ahead and let us know. Any help is appreciated. I'll just add it onto the list. What I've actually been doing for the past week, well, I had saved up a lot of money. Buying a PlayStation 4 is a huge deal for me, and Sarah helped out with that a lot. And it's kind of a dream come true. It's like going to Disney World for the first time, or seeing your parents happy, the kind of thing. Just with a PlayStation 4.
Definitely not a child's podcast.
It's pretty much better than all of those things, though, yeah.
Yeah. I also got to hang out with my friend Michael, who actually loaned us his PS4 very early on when we first started the podcast, initially when it was in the proto stages with unreleased episodes currently. And, I've been trying to bust up his, self-esteem level so that he can try to get a date, because he's looking out there, ladies.
Good on you, my
He's
friend.
a very handsome man. Very handsome. I would do things. Sarah.
Anyway,
Sarah, how you doing?
I'm good. Like I said, just kind of hanging out on Grand Theft Auto. Getting kind of upset at The Witcher because it's hard to play, but Grand Theft Auto mostly. I like it. It changes the game entirely when you play it in first person. I don't play it like Grand Theft Auto. I play it more like Borderlands or Fallout or something else, and it makes me even worse at it because you don't have like armor or an armor rating. You
Or
just
bats.
nor anything. Like you just kind of have to like shoot people, and I'm too busy running out there and trying to kill everybody, and it doesn't work.
It's really difficult too, because I watch her play and she might die in some horrible way, and I feel bad because I remember when I would do that mission and I would die a couple of times, and then she's just laughing her ass off. She's like, dying in GTA is funny.
It is. It is funny because it never happens the same way. You never die the same way, and if you do, then it gets upsetting. Like if you keep getting shot or killed by the same guy every single time, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, that motherfucker
Yeah.
needs to be killed. But if you like are driving and you die because your car is doing 360 corkscrews in the air into the lake, then it's kind of like, that's fine.
There's also still always the cheat to skydive.
Now we're going to move on to the rumors from the radio. Now, first up on the list, we're going to talk about the newly announced Nintendo console NX, which nobody has any idea what it's going to be
Oh man, I've been waiting so long for them to announce this.
or what it's going to do. They do mention that it's going to play into 3DS, Amiibos, and the Wii U. And that's one of the big things is everybody was kind of like, okay, well, I just bought a Wii U.
So wait, you
but
have to have a console to own a console?
I don't know. It's going to somehow tie into these consoles. And so everybody was like, "What? Well, I just bought this Wii U. They're coming out with a console now, and they're going to replace the Wii U." And they're like trying to confirm that that's not how it's going to be.
I want to make a prediction very early on that, similar to the way that sometimes games ship not fully completed, you have to buy an extra DLC, and you find out that DLC is what makes the game enjoyable. I think perhaps Wii U might be the first part of the game, and then this new Nintendo NX, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the new Nintendo NX would be almost like that add-on DLC that you're like, oh, this is what it's missing. The game it should have all come together in one package initially. They just tacked this on because that's 3/4 of what it should have been in the first place.
Yeah, that very well could be. They say it's going to be like innovative. It's going to be, change things. It's kind of like the way the Wii did. It didn't really innovate, but it was like something new, a new way to play video games. And then the Wii U, they had the screen on the controller, right? So and the DS, of course, had the 2 screens, something that handhelds hadn't had before that.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining it has something along that vein, like going for it.
They came out with this announcement really early on in the process, like uncharacteristically early, as every article that I've read about this particular announcement has said, for Nintendo.
Definitely. Tor, do you have anything to say about this?
Give me a new Metroid game. God damn it. Yeah.
I honestly...
Give me a Metroid game.
Yeah. I never have played Metroid, but I've always wanted to, and I'm at a time in my life where I want to revisit classic games and their remakes, and I just don't have a Nintendo console because it just hasn't seemed as worth it to me as some of an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4, for sure. But I'll also speculate that one thing that I've heard time and time again about Nintendo is that they never, ever do proper announcements of upcoming products. And this might be their first try, like their first step to finally giving us more news ahead of time and showing us that they care about PR, because in the past it's basically like they really don't care. But that's my explanation as to why it's so vague. I mean, they mention region locks, how it might be region free, that kind of thing. They say it's going to be innovative. They don't give any solid examples of what they're actually working on.
Give me a new F-Zero, goddammit.
All right.
Yeah, it seems like that's something that they do a lot. I don't know, it's always like last minute that they announce something.
Look, if there's gonna be a new Zelda game on it, then I'm all for it.
Well, they have a new Zelda game coming for the Wii U, finally.
Well, then fuck this new system.
That's another thing, is people were... they were talking about like, oh, well, I just bought this Wii U for the Zelda game. Is the Zelda going to be like moved to a new thing, or what? Like, is this going to be on the new thing? What's going on?
Yeah, they're going to release a thing called Nintendo Now, where for $20 a month.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Jeez, yeah, I know. Well, actually, Nintendo, I think, was like the first company to start selling games, because you can buy a lot of the old games on the Wii.
Yeah.
Like the Wii, you can buy like, I think Harvest Moon is on there. I think Chrono Trigger might be on there. A lot of the old Final Fantasies are on there.
Mm-hmm.
The Zelda games are on there.
Yeah.
Super Mario World is on there.
Yeah, I know on the Wii U you can get any of those games basically, like through the market, and they're reasonably priced, like almost enough to make me not want to steal them and emulate them, but not enough to do so.
Yeah.
But they're trying, and they are there. So there's that.
Yeah.
Next on the list, Tor mentioned that we may have some news about a Fallout 4 trailer.
Oh yeah, no, it's in Baston, right?
Well, okay. So
this is that's unrelated. All right, so
going backwards a bit.
Some dude on LinkedIn was like, I got hired by Guillermo del Toro's studio to do the Fallout 4 trailer. And he was like some designer on it or whatever. But he put it on LinkedIn and people saw it. And then the internet went fucking apeshit, of course, because, it's the internet. What that means? I don't know, because he's got a bunch of other ones that are credible, but it could just be a fake profile. Who knows?
Yeah. And you guys mentioned a couple of podcasts ago that, is it Bethesda?
yeah, they're gonna have.
Yeah, they're
going
going
to
to have, this is the first time that they're having a big, specific to them press conference at E3, is that right?
Yeah. It
Yeah,
also
so, I
could
mean,
be Elder Scrolls 6.
Maybe they're announcing that they're dissolving the company.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, we're just done. Fallout's just gonna fall into the hands of whoever, Disney.
Yeah, we're done with games in general, unless it's on mobile. We really think that
Yeah, right.
mobile is the future of gaming.
Jesus Christ, don't remind me.
So the Boston rumor for Fallout 4, basically there was an article a while back talking about a person who was cast to be a voice actor, like cast for voice acting work, and they recognized some of the locations in the script as being places in Boston, and it was for a Bethesda project, and they weren't sure what project, but their assumptions led to Fallout 4. And I think they even leaked excerpts of the script online, so that there was like a somewhat of a confirmation. Obviously, these could have been hand typed by anybody. It could have been, just some hoax, but that's the idea at the moment.
I have never played a Fallout game, although I've watched my friends play hours and hours of it. And isn't there a mention of a faction that's based out of Boston, or anything to do with the Fallout universe that's set in Boston?
The main factions that I know of in the Fallout universe are all centered in the southwest region. Like the New California Republic, and New Vegas, and bunch of other people. A lot of people. Caesar Legion recently. They came from Arizona. Oh yeah, it could be that the press conference is for Elder Scrolls 6, which would be pretty.
Yeah, you mentioned that, but we're talking about Fallout 4. How there was a
yeah,
leaked Fallout 4
it's not
idea.
Dishonored. Was that before Dishonored, or was that after Dishonored?
Was what Dishonored?
When that script came out, was that before or after Dishonored came out?
That was after Dishonored came out. This was like 4 months ago.
I was gonna say, because that could have fit into the Dishonored universe.
Next, we're going to talk about Konami. Apparently, Konami said that they are going to be moving to mobile. They are no longer going to be working on console titles, or at least not focusing as much on console titles, and they're going to be moving with the future of gaming, which is the mobile platform.
Bullshit.
Yeah, that is bullshit.
That is bullshit.
I don't know, guys. I love playing games on my phone.
Yeah, you got all kinds of games that you could play for 5 minutes and they're completely forgettable and they don't make your life any better.
Like YouTube.
And then you dump money into them. That'd be cool, right?
Yeah, that'd be totally awesome.
So, I mean, it's very funny to me that all of this is happening right after Kojima and Konami split ways, right? It's like they just couldn't, without Konami, or like without Kojima, they're just like, well, we might as well give up.
Is this maybe the reason that Kojima decided to leave Konami?
That's another thing that, I mean, it very well could be
Or
the reason that he left, or he could have known about this coming and been like, nah, I don't want to deal with that.
It would make for great press if he turned out to be a gamer's hero and just said that, yeah, he was completely against it. It's a terrible idea. They're not going to be successful. And Konami will they'll eventually fail as a company for this venture, because if I think it's completely laughable for anybody to say just outright that mobile gaming is the future of gaming, because if you think of mobile gaming as it is now, unless it has any huge changes in the near future, it's definitely not.
Absolutely not.
When I think of mobile gaming, I just think of point click, and it's not very interactive. And it would be hard to use.
Oh yeah, you mean like touch?
Yeah, on the
Yes.
touch screen, and on top of that, most of the games where you succeed, you have to dump your money into it anyway. So I can't see that being a very successful turn in their company.
Yeah, I think it's a model that definitely works right now, but people get savvy, people get tired of the same stuff. You have to constantly change that model if you want to continue making money in that way, basically by tricking your consumers. But also, I don't think it's sustainable. So Konami's going to have to be really, really, really smart with whatever they do as far as mobile gaming is concerned. Maybe they'll come out with their own handheld. Who knows what this means? But again, gaming news in general, I think, is pretty vague.
I think there's potential because they have a lot of games, right? They've got a lot of games that have, like a lot of franchises that hold a lot of weight. Like they have Silent Hill, they have, Metal Gear Solid, they have all these franchises. it's very possible that they could be making awesome games with the phone that are worth playing on the phone. It's like worth buying this game because they're not penny pinching you, and they're not they're not treating you, they're not disrespecting you by you playing the game. They could make quality content games for phone, but that's not likely the route it's going to go.
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna play devil's advocate and be like, what if they just like completely turn the tables on mobile gaming and like
They have a
give
turntable.
you like wiki. Maybe they give you like a new like Street Fighter game, or do they make Street Fighter?
Capcom.
That's
Capcom,
Capcom.
yeah.
No,
They're
Capcom
they're-
could go mobile. That'd be rad.
Right. Well, like let's say they make like a fighting game, and then they're just like, all right, so like you can play it with anyone in proximity, play it over the internet, but it's like the controls are really good, like considering like now that people have these new phones that are big, like my iPhone 6 Plus is pretty big, like.
Yeah, there's a decent means of gaming, like getting a decent game on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Because right now the games that are on mobile are basically just like fucking back in the day, like basically back in the day quarter sucking game machines at arcades, right? Like,
Mhm.
give me more money, give me more money, give me more money. You can play the game.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that model, and I've been playing a lot of mobile games just to pass time occasionally, and I even find myself playing it even when I'm not passing the time for fun. I mean, I discovered Hearthstone recently. That's definitely a lot of fun, but they make it extremely difficult for you to enjoy the game without spending any money on it, and I don't really appreciate that. It comes down to DLC stuff, and I've never been a fan of a DLC that just was, like I mentioned earlier, a whole other half of a game that should have been one whole in the first place, or DLC that's overly priced for some exclusive item that doesn't do anything. Was horse armor a thing?
For Oblivion, you could buy horse armor for like $5 or $6, and literally all I did was put a suit of armor on your horse.
Hearthstone is pretty bad too with the quarter sucking. I mean, like they come out with an expansion now like every 2 months.
The only thing, okay, so this may be particular to me. I mean, it seems like we all do a fair amount of mobile gaming.
No,
I
hate mobile games. I
look at
can't
that.
stand them.
Well, The Sims for a little bit, right?
For like 2 weeks, and that was because you were playing Clash of Clans, and I'm like, it was going through our Doctor Who phase when we were watching Doctor Who all the time, and you're over there on your phone playing Clash of Clans, and I'm like actually paying attention to Doctor Who, and I feel lame because I'm like, I don't have anybody to talk to.
Yeah.
Nobody on Facebook. I don't care about rereading anything on Facebook. I don't do phone very much, and so I just can't stand mobile games. I haven't found any that have kept my attention for longer than like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
And not one of them.
Well, and that's along the same vein of like why I'm not particularly fond of phone games, and I think that like I said, if there was, there have been ones that I played that were really awesome, but if Konami were to pull off something like that, I would be okay with that. So a decent like 2 hour, 4 hour good game that everybody can talk about and enjoy, maybe, because that's what mobile's about. It's just short and sweet and to the point. And like I played a game called The Room. It was a puzzle game. It had really intriguing puzzles. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, and once you got through it, it was like, wow, this is cool. I want to play the next one, And then The Room 2 came out, and I didn't buy it. I actually picked it up on a bundle, I think, or something like that. But, I still, like, in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to play through the second one now. Like, I want to, do that. Because it was significant, and actually, like, they didn't nickel and dime you for anything like that. They just, it was this cool puzzle game. And the thing I was trying to say about the way that I view phone games is that they're fun for a lot of people, but for me, when I'm on my phone, it's a tool. Like that's basically, it's the Omni tool from Mass Effect. Basically, it's like, it's on my arm at all times. I use it to browse the internet, to like learn about things, to get news, to laugh for a minute, or like I don't even like YouTube on my phone. I like, unless I'm like sitting around with friends and we're chatting and showing each other videos, that's fine. But if I'm out at work on break, the only thing I want to be using my phone for is Spotify and reading a book. You know, because I can have like thousands of books on my phone, and I might as well be doing that instead of plinking away fucking dollars in some stupid game that I don't care about.
There's also
Or
the
just
issue.
not use your phone and have human conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I hate everyone I work with. So.
There's also the issue of battery life. Battery life is a huge thing with a lot of newer cell phones because their OSs aren't optimized or something along those lines. Like you have a new phone, Sarah, and your battery lasts how long? Typically, it doesn't even make it through the day, right?
Yeah, like it can last about, well, since I don't play phone games, it lasts about like 10 to 14 hours on a good day. But God forbid I forget to charge it for one single day and then I don't have a phone the next day. Not that that's a huge blow because I don't really talk to anybody anyway, but still, yeah, battery life for the LG G3 kind of sucks.
Not a big
Mm-hmm.
plus
It
side of the phone.
overheats.
I think
Oh, really?
most phones.
Yeah, see,
really
that's
bad.
the thing too, right?
Yeah, so there's a lot of drawbacks to just mobile gaming on your cell phone specifically. I think the only way to really resolve the issue is to come up with a completely new platform, which a lot of people swear by the PS Vita and by the 3DS.
Vita's pretty good.
Yeah. So, if Konami's going down that road, all right, maybe I'll take a look at it, but it can't be super expensive either because we already have a mobile phone that can play practically any game that you release for. It's a multifunction tool. It can do anything. Why do we need more specific mobile devices just for gaming,
I don't know. I was gonna say with mobile gaming, you pretty much have to be tethered to a wall with your phone.
What do you mean by that? Like, what do you have to be?
Because you gotta have your phone plugged in, like, to play the game, so
Yeah.
it doesn't, like, kill your battery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess some games, right? Like the games like Candy Crush and the stuff, Clash of Clans, it's not super draining, right? But it can be after a while. But yeah, if it were to be something like, Silent Hill on the phone, right?
You're
It's
gonna
like,
have to be, like, sitting there, like, tethered to a wall, like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm playing Silent Hill. Like, it's bad enough watching YouTube already.
Yeah.
Like,
you're on like a subway and then your phone explodes because you were playing it for like 2 hours.
The only game that I'd be willing to play on a mobile device is Goat Simulator, and that's not
Yeah.
even a mobile game. That's a computer game that they made for mobile, and that's nowhere even close to what mobile games, the definition of mobile games is, and that's the closest thing. And
Yeah.
that would eat at your battery. If Konami's
Really?
going that route and they're wanting to make things like Goat Simulator where it's like a full game of like exploration, or even Xenonia 4, that's the only one that I've ever actually like
Is
stuck
that like
to.
a JRPG kind of one?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's almost exactly like a JRPG, but it's like if Konami did stuff like that, then I could see how that could somehow be profitable. But if you want to go for like a handheld game route, go for the 3DS or the PS Vita. They're built
Yeah,
to handle it.
absolutely.
They're built to handle it. And
And
you
they've
can
got-
even do in-game purchases and DLC with those too.
Yeah, if that's
So-
really what you need. Yeah, definitely. Peter.
So if we were to say 5 words or less to Konami about their new big idea, and in light of recent circumstances like dissolving Silent Hills, for instance, what would they be? He's counting.
You done fucked up.
go fuck yourself.
Those are all really good. Just fuck you. Fuck you.
I'd slap
Fuck.
him and then just give him a hard stare for 5 seconds and just shake my head.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that.
You're not worth my data.
Ooh, that was cold.
You burned.
You're not worth my Wi-Fi's data. That shit's free.
That could be like double entendre. You're not worth my waifu.
I won't even play you at Starbucks. That was good, Brooklyn. You're not even worth my data. Yeah, well, I was going to say that I think we can all agree that this is also not the future of gaming. Like, mobile is not the future of
If
gaming.
it's the future of gaming, then gaming's gonna suck.
Yeah,
so
gaming is
bad.
doomed.
Then, I mean, what's the future of houses then?
Just imagine
Like, we just
Witcher
don't have
8.
houses because we don't.
Like The Witcher 8 on your fucking phone, just fuck you, girl.
Like, cars, the future of houses. No, that's not how it works.
Bloodborne 6.
It might be the future of gaming if the future of phones changes.
Yeah.
And we start like expanding to doing things like with like holograms and
Yeah,
stuff like that,
yeah.
like projections and
Oh,
like
man.
having like massive, like you said, like an Omni tool where you
Yeah.
have like a little screen that flips up on your arm and you do gaming.
Yeah.
If that's the future of mobile devices,
Then,
then
yeah.
absolutely they are on the right band track. But we are not there yet.
Yeah.
We are not. We are so far from
As
even
soon
close
as
to
I
being
have
there.
like a holodeck from Star Trek on my wrist, I'm totally all for it.
Right?
Until the
Until then-
holograms become sentient and then attack you.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think-
but there's totally like a safe switch on, you know.
Yeah, but you don't find it until the end of the episode.
You can get Norton for that.
oh my god.
Oh man, that's a whole different. Don't even bring that up. Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Play,
Alright.
Trying to play Civ. Oh fuck you.
Can we do
Yeah, just a quick.
a brief interjection here? I just want to mention, fuck you, McAfee. You're the future of sucking my dick. That's what you are.
Sorry, Brooklyn.
No,
Okay.
seriously.
We spent like 2 hours trying to fucking uninstall McAfee. That's
Just to play
stupid.
Civ.
Yeah, it would. Okay, I had to play Civ. One of the suggestions in on Steam was to disable a function of McAfee. Now my 30-day trial ended, and so I went to McAfee, the bar that they suggested. I did all of the things that they suggested, like went to the window to disable the thing, and it brought me up to a menu that said, renew your subscription. So they wanted me to buy their subscription so that I could stop them from doing the thing that they're not even doing. Because I don't pay them. So I fucking like had to download an uninstall tool, an exe that uninstalls McAfee. Because it's a virus. Because the antivirus software is a virus.
No, I mean
Fuck
like
that
we
shit.
even watched the video where like the John McAfee's like, I don't know what these guys did 15 years ago. I had some brilliant fucking software and they just went and fucked it all up. Like,
And
I don't even. How do I install it? I don't know.
we should also clarify for our audience, our loonies, this came with your computer, right? You
Yeah.
didn't go out of your way to install it. You
Yeah.
just got a new computer and it was on there.
You boot up Microsoft or Windows for the first time, and it's like, hey, you got a free trial. You don't even have to give us an email or anything. You're already in. And then 30 days ends, and then it bugs you every 20 minutes. And it will close whatever window you're on. So if you're a gamer and you're in the middle of like an FPS, it will close the window and pop up McAfee.
Also, Windows Update does the same shit.
It's terrible. Anyway,
Microsoft and McAfee, fuck both of you.
so now we're going to move on to Midnight Therapy Sessions.
Ah,
This is where we talk about games we've been playing.
should we leave The Witcher 3 for last? Or let's just get everything else out of the way really quick.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
And we'll start. Let's start with Mad Max because I think that we can roughly get through that. Maybe because
Real quick.
Peter
yeah.
and Sarah have not seen Mad Max yet. I'm sure they intend to as soon as humanly possible, which is the best mode of option.
It would be after
Um,
this podcast, but we're going kind of late today.
Yeah, but Tor, Brooklyn, and I have seen Mad Max, and I think we can spend maybe 2 to 3 minutes basically just talking about our opinions and what we thought about it and what we liked and what we didn't like. Did you want to start, Tor?
Yeah, okay, so first off, I can't wait for the next two movies. I'm really excited for the next two movies. Second off, this studio needs to be hired on to do the Fallout movies. Like, half the time that I was watching this movie, I'm like, oh my god, Fallout. Like, this is Fallout. Holy shit. They should be making a Fallout movie. This is not Fallout. Oh my god. And then he says his name at the end of the movie. I'm like, it's not Fallout. Oh, I was so disappointed. But yeah, it's really fucking good. I mean, like, witness me, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Witness me.
So cool, so cool. What about you, Brooklyn? What did you think?
I was so pleasantly surprised by it. I am not an action movie fan. I was kind of being the good girlfriend and going along with my boyfriend to see this crazy action movie. And the first half of the movie is literally just bang, bang, pow, pow, crazy effects, guns, shooting, driving. And so I'm kind of sitting there just, watching it, enjoying it for what it is. And, I mean, I'll tell you that seeing the effects in that movie were mind-blowing. They have these crazy storm scenes and all the effects, they're just amazing and they're so in your face. And then they really delve into the story. And the best part about it to me was the women in the movie, because they come out and they're just these scantily dressed supermodels, and you're like, oh great, an action movie with hot naked chicks. But they all turn out to be super badass and actually be way cooler than the male protagonists in the movie. So I really appreciated that.
I would like to, like 3 points. Definitely the badass women, which I heard that there was actually research that was done by the creator of the movie. I guess he went out and researched and talked to one of the co-writers or writers of the Vagina Monologues to talk about what these characters had been through, and if the way he wrote the way they acted in the environment in that universe was realistic. And go ahead, Peter.
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet, but that's something that I definitely heard. And I don't care what the fuck anybody says. I think that there's a serious lack of diversity as far as female protagonists and just other ethnicities go in Hollywood movies and even video games. And to see women represented so well, I think I'm pretty excited to see that, and that's what I'm getting from everybody that has seen it. Is that they're well represented. It's a great story, and it definitely hinges on them sometimes, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah. That most of the time, I would say. Then I would also say that the action was completely over the top and amazing, and that it was pretty much nonstop. There were a couple of little low scenes, but it was very brief. And thirdly, I guess I would like to talk about how amazingly everything fit into the world, and that goes for all of the devices that people use. These are bandit raiders, out in the desert, jumping from town to town in their dune buggies, raping and pillaging. Basically like Vikings, right?
The steering wheel is important to them.
Yeah, the steering wheel is a key to the war rig, to the war machine that they drive, And so, and whoever gets to drive is oh no, I get to drive. No, I get to drive. Fuck you, it's me, my turn, my time to shine. It's this whole Valhalla culture, and the way that they represent that is so cool because. Like I said, all of the gadgets and stuff are cool, and they all fit in, and they all tie in. There's their war music, their pulsing, driving war music is played by a dude suspended by strings on a guitar in front of a bunch of amps, riding on a truck. He's chugging metal chords.
That was awesome.
And they're that's their war music, right? And that this is all harkens back to Vikings, and they're their war music that they would play as they approached a village or whatever. And the one thing I thought that was so cool about it is that the vehicles are so important. And the reason the vehicles are important is because if you take a step back and think about it, these people are Vikings, and they're not in the dirt in cars, they're on the ocean in boats.
Yeah.
And so every aspect of them jumping from car to car and not touching the sand
Just
reflects
replace car with boat.
Yeah, reflects sea battles, and that's what's really cool about it.
So there's there's a lot of poeticism, a lot of just things representing other things. You'd say that it's a action movie, but it's also got lots of veiled meanings. It's got lots of empowerment. It's got pretty much everything that you'd see missing from a typical 80s action flick.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
Okay, I'm excited.
There's just one other point that I wanted to talk about in that movie, and that's for people who haven't seen it. I don't know if they picked up on this aspect, but pretty much in every movie like this that I see, there's always a cliche where, and I'm going to say this without spoilers, but a bad guy, a character, a troubled character, falls in love with a girl, and he has this whole redemption thing, and he goes on this path of redemption through love, and it's for a woman. But this movie did it so differently. They did it with compassion and a mother's love rather than a romantic story that just cheapens the whole experience. So I thought that was very unique, and I really appreciated it.
My favorite design, character-wise, wardrobe-wise, were the old women that you meet in the movie. Anyone who hasn't seen it, the old women who are pretty much the main protagonists, only friends, they designed incredibly awesomely, and that's why I was like, oh my god, like they need to make a Fallout movie, because like Eric can vouch for this, like they really looked like wasteland wanderers.
Oh,
right?
definitely, yeah.
Like
it's
they
crazy.
looked like they were wandering the wasteland, and that's what they were. Like, and like the weapons they used, like
On their
were
fucking
different.
motorcycles, yeah.
Yeah, it was just really cool. Without yeah.
It's like a Steam / cyberpunk like wet dream. You know,
Yeah.
post-apocalypse wet dream, basically.
Plus, if you like Fallout, you're gonna like cream your pants when you see the movie.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
other than The Witcher 3, what have you, Peter and Sarah, what have you two been playing?
I'll get mine out of the way real quick. I played Ori and the Blind Forest, which I believe was just distributed by Microsoft, although they had their Microsoft Studios logo on there, so maybe it was also partially developed by them. But I was really surprised. It's a fairy tale platformer. It's very beautiful. It has sort of the feel of an animated movie while also having some of the horror and mystical feelings from, say, Pan's Labyrinth, Guillermo del Toro movie. Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, yeah.
Totally butchered that, but
It's so hard to say his name. We just
sometimes
couldn't call him G. de Toro.
Yeah, he's all over this podcast today. I don't know what's up with him.
we love him. That's the reason why. And well, besides the music and the way that the game looks, the game is all about reaction time, and they give you very, very small, short tutorials. Nothing pops up and says, hey, this is how you do this. At least not for the most part. You get to a new area of the map, and you have a brand new challenge. You have to get from point A to point B. You have to learn on the fly, and then if you mess up, then you got to start over. One thing that they do very nicely is they allow you to, they give you these energy orbs with a dual purpose. You could either save your game with them and regenerate some health, or you can use it to explode enemies or explode walls to get into secret areas. And so you have to be really economical with that and decide when to save and when to use it to access extra abilities or perks that you might find in secret rooms. So overall, it's a very touching story. It's a reaction-based platformer. It's really, really intense at times, and then at the very end, it's very heartfelt and sweet. Kind of sad too, but it's overall just a really great experience. I recommend it for anyone who has a PC or an Xbox. And I haven't played much of the following game, but I think that it's just terrible, terrible timing for Battlefield Hardline, because I started playing that just the first mission. You go around as a cop, and you're talking to drug dealers and thugs and just bad people in general, and you're being really rough with them and violent with them and definitely undermining people's rights and being just a bad cop with... Overall, I guess that there's this sense that, as long as you make deals with bad guys, you can get information, you can get to the real bad guys, but still. Seeing that showcased in a video game, the game mechanics are super fun, but given what's going on in the news lately, I think it's just really poor timing for a game like Battlefield Hardline's single-player aspect, at least. I do enjoy the multiplayer, though. Cops and robbers, totally fun.
I remember Call of Duty had a similar thing a while ago. I don't know if you guys remember which Call of Duty it was. I think it was Modern Warfare, where there was like a scene where like you go undercover with the Russian like mob military. Or whatever.
Yeah. I can actually. You briefly take control of a person who's in with a group of Russian terrorists, and the leader says, no Russian, and they walk through an airport. You don't actually have to shoot anybody. Your buddies take care of all of that. It was a really controversial thing that they would include mass murder and terrorism in a video game way back then, but I guess it would still be a little bit of a big deal. But anyway, at the end of that, spoiler alert, the Russian terrorists know that you're a counter agent, and they murder you, and then that's the end. The segment is maybe 5 minutes long at the most. But yeah, that's... that was also pretty horrific, but I
remember playing through that and being like, this is kind of uncomfortable. Like,
yeah, and I get that exact feeling. Like there are some cool mechanics, like sneaking around, talking to people, making deals. If you flash your badge, you have to keep your gun trained on. If there's multiples, you have to keep your gun trained on them and make sure that you're paying attention to each of them while you're trying to arrest them. Yeah, just like in real life if you're making an arrest against a violent person, I guess. But still, like just what's in the news lately? Real bad
War
taste,
time.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
How about you, Sarah?
This has actually been a pretty big month for me with gaming. I've played a lot. We just recently got a PlayStation 4, so I've just over the past couple days been playing The Witcher 3 and Grand Theft Auto 5. But in the last month, and this is a big deal for me because I do not beat video games. For some reason, I can't do it. Like, if I sit there and I love this game to death, I will almost find any reason possible to stop playing it for like a month or two. And if I somehow go, oh, I want to play that game again, I won't. Because it's like, no, I'd have to restart and go all the way back through the story because I don't remember what happens. And then it leads to situations where my favorite video game of all time is The Legend of the Dragoon. It came out in the year 2000 and I still haven't beat it. Because of that exact thing, that I just keep going back and restarting. But I finally beat The Last of Us. Yay! I finally beat The Last of Us. It was kind of pressured for me to beat The Last of Us because it's was such a good game. And so when I got to the end of it, I was kind of like, yeah, I mean, I kind of saw that coming. And I do appreciate how it just kind of ended. It resolved the story that you were going through, but then it just was like, okay, we're done, go on. And it was kind of like Heavy Rain, where it was like, we told the story that we were going to tell, let's move on. So that was pretty cool. I really like the multiplayer better than the single player, if I'm going to be totally honest. I played Stick of Truth, South Park The Stick of Truth. That's another game that I never fully beat. I got to Al Gore, and I beat him, and I was so happy that I'd kicked Al Gore's ass. That I like stopped playing for a week, and I no longer had that save, and now I have to restart all over. I tried playing Fable Anniversary, but it has a lot of glitches on the Xbox 360, so I can't get through any of it, and it's really disappointing because I played that game when it very first came out. It was like one of my very first big console games. Because back then, like, the PlayStation 2 was a big console, like it was the console around, but it didn't have as many games as it ended up having. This was back when PS2 had no games.
Yeah.
But Xbox 360 came out and they made Fable, and it was like the first morality choice game. If you eat food, you get fat. If you eat healthy food, you get thinner. If you increase your strength stat, your character will get buff. If you don't do anything, he stays lanky. Like, it was very in depth in that way, and I just love it. And it's so ridiculous, and the voice acting is just so
bad.
So
Chicken chaser.
you're just gonna stand
Chase
there
chicken
like a
out of-
lemon, and it's just like, it's ridiculous, and I loved it, and I wanted to play it so badly, but it just keeps glitching and freezing and load screens, and it just does not work out. So probably most of my time lately is going to be spent either watching Peter play The Witcher or going through Grand Theft Auto. Again, another game that I got like 3/4 of the way through and then just stopped. Just dropped it. So like, I've been through Grand Theft Auto and I got pretty good at it, but when you restart a game after not playing it for 6 months, you kind of act like a retard child playing with all thumbs.
Are you not planning to play through The Witcher 3?
No, I am. It's just, it's hard.
Yeah.
And I have like so many things that are thrown at me right now, and I have to say that a first-person Grand Theft Auto is really, really taking my heart by storm, because punching hookers and killing people on the streets and like,
Right.
like
In
it's
first
like
person.
yeah, it's like
Fuck you,
Fallout.
hooker.
Exactly, it's
Granny.
like Fallout or Skyrim, but the world's actually like populated with things and people to shoot and things to do. Like, I don't know.
Inconsequential people to beat up.
Exactly. You can take selfies. Like, one of the first things I did when I had free range of Franklin was take a selfie with him making a weird face on the top of a roof. And then I searched the internet the entire time on the phone, and when I finally took the phone down from the screen, it was nighttime and 2 days had passed, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Real life.
I was just going to really quickly say, with the PlayStation 4, we also got a whole bunch of games, I think, including Dying Light, Battlefield 4, and a couple of others. I traded those in immediately because I know that Sarah had started Far Cry 4 just a little tiny bit as kind of a teaser a while ago, and so I wanted to make sure she had that game. We also had Battlefield Hardline. Someone recommended that I hold on to that because they wanted to play with me. So I kept that, but we also got, we borrowed The Last of Us Remastered for the sake of the DLC and the multiplayer, and And The Witcher 3, I think.
We rented Borderlands, the Handsome Collection.
Oh,
today, and that was pretty cool. I really like how you play Borderlands 1 and if you go back nowadays with our graphics nowadays, if you go back and play Borderlands 1, you still kind of say to yourself like, it looks pretty good. Like though because of the way they styled the game, like a comic book style, it still holds up. Like it still looks really good. But the newest one smooths everything out and like makes it just a little bit more defined, and so it's actually a pretty cool game. I'm looking forward to playing it, which is a big deal because I hated Borderlands 1.
Yeah, we're very early in the game, and I heard that a lot of people don't like the pre-sequel, but, you know, this will be my first Borderlands game, so if the rest of them are, better, then I'm definitely going to go back and play through those all the way.
Oh, yeah.
Really excited for that.
Good. Well, as far in the vein of completing things, I beat Bloodborne.
Woo! You did the impossible!
I know.
Is it impossible?
It took me forever. No, it's not impossible, and it's not as difficult as people might make it out to be.
It's much easier once you get used to it.
Yeah, and if you get homies to help you out, I'd always summon before boss fights, so that made things way easier. But also in the vein of things that I've been playing this last week that aren't The Witcher 3, I also played an indie game. I think it was published by Clay, which is the studio that made Mark of the Ninja and Shank.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called Crypt of the Necrodancer. And this game is it's fantastic. It's so cool. It's a roguelike, tile-based, RPG where RPG rhythm game, right? It's like roguelike, tile-based RPG rhythm game. And so there's like a pulsing electronic beat going on in the background the whole time. And it's really catchy and really good. And the only keys you use are up, down, and left and right. And you have to hit them to the beat. If you skip a beat, you lose your bonus. And the monsters, they all move to the beat. So if you stop and they're still moving, they're going to get you, right? And so it's a roguelike because if you die, you lose pretty much everything, and then you start back at the beginning of the thing. You go back to a hub where you can access each of the levels. So it's a little less, it's a little bit more forgiving than most roguelikes, but the dancing, the music, and all of that, like all of the bad guys, like the skeletons do like a little shake, like they do a little shimmy, and like all of the enemies, like the big bosses, there's one boss called Death Metal, and it's Death, the Grim Reaper, but like with a microphone on his scythe, and he's like, all metalled out and stuff. And the shopkeeper, like when you find the shopkeeper in the area, he'll start singing the song like, oh, and going along with it. It's like, auto-tuney sounding, so it's really funny and cheesy. But the whole game is it's such a joy. It's really awesome. It's like great mechanics, great idea. You can import your own songs, all of this. It's like, and it's $15. It's fantastic.
Very cool.
Yeah. So now,
The Witcher
3.
Woo!
Yeah, let's go around the room. Thoughts?
Alright, I'm gonna nitpick this game for a minute. Okay, here's the deal. The game is fucking awesome. I've never played any of the other Witcher games, but the problem is the controls are really unforgiving. Like, looting and gathering resources, like, you pretty much have to be, like, in the right exact area for it to work. They need to fix that. Like, modern games now have, like, area loot systems and shit like that. Like, even if you're not going to do that, at least make it so that, like, oh, I'm in the vicinity of the thing, then I can loot it. Like, other than, like, if you just step, like, one step over the loot box, oh, can't loot it anymore. You gotta turn around. To turn around, you gotta fucking go forward and then go backwards and, like...
Yeah, Geralt also, he runs, like you're saying, hey man, why don't you loot that crate over there? And he's like, yeah, and he'll jump right over it. Like you're like, hey man, go back, you're running past it. His controls are so swift and difficult to get used to that when you really need to pinpoint what you're looking at to, say, ignite a fire or loot something, it's so hard.
Yeah, like half the time I'll like be like trying to loot something and I'll ignite something and I'm like, god damn. I don't know, but you can do some pretty funny things. Like the first thing Eric ever did in the game was like he looted like this entire village and like set all their candles on fire so that they would burn. Like, great. What a nice Witcher you are.
Yeah. No,
that
that's
wax
not fun.
didn't cost you anything.
I'll admit I've beaten The Witcher 1, and I've played through like 3/4 of The Witcher 2, and I'll say that the one thing that they both have in common, and this isn't any different than those two, is that they're kind of clunky. Like they're kind of just, like they don't have the most smooth or polished mechanics, but it's easily forgivable with like the story, the writing in this game is phenomenal. It's so good. Every interaction that I have with a PC that gives you a cutscene makes me just fall in love with the facial animations for this game and the writing. Like I remember before it came out, Peter gave me this like low expectation thing. I think he saw some video, some gameplay or something like that, and told me like that the writing in this is terrible, and I can't see that at all. I think it's fantastic.
I was saying that kind of more as a criticism of CD Projekt Red is a studio based out of Poland, and my cultural background is Polish. You could actually set the game to be like the spoken dialogue will be in Polish, and you could have English subtitles if that's something that interests you. But it is first and foremost a Polish game, and I thought, well, Poland has troubles with this. They're very sexist. A lot of people are very cynical. They really don't like their past history with invaders and so forth. And I was like, this game is going to have all of that. And I was right, except about the writing. The writing is great. The writing is really, really good. And I'm just really surprised at all the different branching storylines, all the options that you have. One thing that I will kind of criticize, though, I finished the first mission, and then the second mission begins with basically a Q&A between you and some other important character that's asking you about events in previous games that I have no idea about. And I feel like I really should research what happened in The Witcher 2 so that I can answer those questions as though I had played The Witcher 2, as though I had made those decisions. Because these decisions probably have far-reaching consequences later on in the game that I don't even know about.
There is a button, I don't know if you clicked it or not, but it's Witcher 2 Simulated Save. That right when you start a new game, it says, would you like to simulate a Witcher 2 save? If you don't click that button, it won't give you that whole talk.
Damn it. Yeah. I don't know how to change that then, because I started my game that way. I was like, Witcher 2 Simulated Save? Yeah, sure.
Well, if you do what Eric, you said, and click it off, and it doesn't give you that option for dialogue, wouldn't it then just feed you, Peter, the events that happen? Like, so you did this and you did this, but you still wouldn't know what was going on. They would just enter the conversation and talk about it, and you wouldn't get to interact with it at all.
I'm not entirely sure, but I think it skips that entire scene. Like, I think it just...
well, that's not worth it.
Save.
Pardon?
I thought you simulated your save.
I simulated mine because I played through enough of that game to know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Like, for each of those options, I know exactly what he's referring to.
You just researched it.
Well, yeah. I mean, as far as the ending goes, like the last two things, like I researched those things, but everything else I remembered happening.
Well, then I'm going to have a conversation with you to decide what I would have chosen personally. But also, when I was watching reviews and reading reviews about The Witcher 3, and I found out that they had ways for you to be able to basically get your Witcher 2 information without a save file. Yeah, I thought it would be handled with a little bit more tact. Like, not everything all at once, just you being questioned, did you do this or this or this? I thought that it would be peppered in throughout the storyline, and I'd be able to pause the game and be like, all right, let's take 5 minutes to read about this particular segment, so that I know what choice to make. But
yeah, that is a shame. Yeah.
Well, like, keep in mind you are, like, granted you ran around and looted and, tried to fight enemies and did side quests, but if someone was doing a playthrough just from start to finish, that whole section that you did probably would have taken, like, maybe an hour. So, like, how much backstory and lore do you want them to really give you in an hour? It probably is peppered in through the story. You just have to make the initial choices at the beginning, and it'll then tell you what your story was later on in the game.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I could see that happening.
And most of those events were at the end of a chapter. So, like, when he asked you, like, what happened to Sir What's-His-Face? Like, Lord, What's-His-Face?
EO something.
Yeah. that's basically like one of the close to the end of the prologue of the second game.
Oh, okay.
Right? And if you choose like the correct speech path, then he doesn't fight you. But if you choose the wrong one, it's not right or wrong. It just changes the outcome of like later events. And if you fight him, then he just dies there, and then that also changes the outcome of like the way his family sees you throughout the rest of the story. So, I mean, these are all like bookending kind of moments, right? So for them to like handle it any other way really would have taken enough time to have played the game. Basically.
Yeah, okay, I get it. Well, as far as plus sides, this is my first single-player RPG that's just this complex, this complicated. I don't think Final Fantasy is this complicated. I think that's the most difficult, I guess would be the word to use, RPG that I've played on console. And just going into the menu screens, just alchemy, items, the shops, and like all these item pictures are tiny, their descriptions are tiny, and there's so much. I got overwhelmed immediately, but I'm starting to pick it up a little bit, and I'm actually really excited.
Flow down. It's just, there's no stopping you.
This is my bad luck. I was talking to Tor about this earlier, but the cutscenes of the game tend to include a scenic view that is beautiful, but in almost every cutscene that I've had, and it is probably just my bad luck, but it's always the sun setting directly behind the characters, so I could only see their silhouettes and the sun blazing in the background with god rays coming in between them. I can't see their facial expressions or anything. It's just
stop meditating to dusk.
I don't.
One thing that I will nitpick about the game, something that I'm used to from Grand Theft Auto, is you hold the L1 button and then you select your weapon, and then you unhold the L1 button.
Oh yeah, I hate having to press X.
Yeah, in this you have to like tap X to like select the thing, and it's kind of annoying. And also, and then there's like the.
Well, you don't have to hold the button. You can just tap it. You tap the button and then you can tap X.
Yeah, but still, it's
much
like
more convenient if you think about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
because then if you let go of the button and your stick is still aimed in the direction of the gun that you're selecting, then you move in that direction.
Yeah.
No, I guess you're right.
But
I don't have to like it anyway.
One other thing that I want to pick is the tutorial system. Like, it comes up all the fucking time.
Yeah, even if you do something
a million times.
Just figure it out on your own. If you haven't played it yet, just turn tutorials off and figure it out on your own, because it's not worth crafting an item and then having it tell you how to craft an item again. Right after it just told you to craft it.
And it's just like, oh, well, go here, and then here's the menu, and it's like, yeah, I know, you fucking showed me this like 5 minutes ago.
That is, you can turn that off very easily. I just ran into that earlier today, and I was like, I already saw this tutorial twice. What's going on?
Yeah.
But
we'll have to switch it off.
Yeah, you could just switch it off. Just go into the options.
As a counter argument to that, and as someone who is constantly getting into fights in The Witcher 3 and going, oh fuck, how do I do this? The tutorials are helpful, because I'm like, oh shit, how do I parry?
At least there is an option.
What's counterattack mean again? Nope, that's the jump button. Like, it's because it's a new game, and I've never played it, The Witcher 1 or 2, and it's just like, we've talked about, it's a very clunky handling system.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to forget all of the combinations of buttons that you need to execute and make him look like he is a Witcher and he is doing this and he knows what he's doing, not, oh fuck, they killed me and they're about to kill me and they're killing me 500 times over and over again, but I got in one good swipe. Like, tutorials are kind of helpful for people like me.
Definitely.
I just had a thought. I made a comment earlier about, my cultural background and so forth. I don't mean any disrespect. I love Poland. I love my family. I love everything about our culture. I know there's drawbacks, just like there's drawbacks to being an American. But it's just making me laugh because clunky, but also a very complex and emotional story. that is Poland, all wrapped up in just a couple of words.
That's awesome. I have an anecdote about that tutorial system. There was one time where I clicked on, there's actually not really been any consequence as far as I remember for stealing anything. Because in the first 2 games, you just go everywhere and loot everything as much as you can.
In front of guards, there's consequences.
In front of guards, now there are consequences. And I didn't, it tells you that, but then, I didn't really think it out. It's in front of guards, right? But I was doing it in front of a person. And then I clicked on on a box, and I went to pick up the item, and it said press X to pick up the item, and then the tutorial popped up and said stealing is a crime and will not be tolerated. Press X to close. And I was like, if I press X and close this, is it going to steal the item? What the fuck do I do here? So fortunately I hit circle and it canceled out. And I was like, oh, thank God. It's not forcing me to face consequences. But I was just like, gee, what do I do?
He was like, you fucked
Christ.
up, man. Deal with it.
I had no idea that looting crates in front of guards would have done that. Like, when I went into the first village, I was like, hey, look, there's shit everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take all this stuff. I helped you guys. There's a griffin somewhere, and half of you guys aren't dead. I'm doing this. And then I told Peter that, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, it's not a morality choice. Apparently, you can just kind of fuck all and do it. And so he goes into the place where all of the guards are, and there's all of the loot in the corner. And he's like, yeah, okay. And he's just picking at it like a buffet. And then all 25 guys come over and just stick their swords in his asshole. And it's like, oh, sorry.
You don't even
I did not
know where
mean-
the hell they came from. You like see a bunch of them staggered throughout the camp. And you're like, okay, there's like maybe 10 guys max. All of a sudden, 50 people are stabbing you and trying to murder you. Like, I guess I done goofed.
There's a morality choice, apparently.
I just want to say that horse is OP in that game. Like,
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, like, you don't need to use the grindstone to buff your weapons. Like, you probably don't even need to, like, upgrade your weapons at all. You just need Roach. Like, you just be on Roach and, like, hit everything on Roach. Because, like,
Roach
you
is
just
the horse.
instantly slice everyone in half. Like,
I did not know that.
Did not know
Really?
that either. That
Yeah.
makes it so much easier.
it's really hard, though, to hit people.
It's
but,
hard to
like,
hit
when you
people.
hit people, it just instantly kills them.
In half.
Yeah. Like,
Even
Coolest,
the- even the
gore
griffin?
animation.
yeah.
I don't know about that, but the smaller humanoid enemies you can definitely
Yeah.
whip.
So,
Like
invincible horse.
bandits and stuff.
It gets
No,
scared
it gets
right
scared.
away,
Yeah.
so you got to be dashing. So what you want to do is you want to dash up and down around the enemies, right? You want to get like some range so you can dash in and then swing, because then your horse's fear level goes up, and if that goes up all the way, he tosses you.
Mm-hmm.
But
But it's a good way to initiate a fight. Like, I've killed like 3 or 4 people before Roach like gets scared, and then like I have like 2 more bandits to deal with, and I'm like, oh, this is easy.
yep.
I can slice them in half too.
Like with wolves, we were talking about how Peter and I like wandered outside the first village, and there's like that pack of like 5 wolves over there.
Mhm.
And if you like get too close to them, they like you can kill 1 or 2 of them, and you're like, yeah, I'm a badass. And then they all like take shots at you, like
Oh, yeah.
you're in the middle of a hungry hippo
Yeah.
board. They're just like, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you. They just kill you right away. So that would probably make
I
it
just
easier.
burn them with fire. Peter really doesn't like the game.
Fire never works for me. I'm always out of stamina.
My current strategy for dealing with every foe, even beasts, is to roll away and then roll back in and strike them.
Yep.
But can you counterattack a wolf, for instance? Can you
Sometimes.
parry and then kick him in the face?
So like the counterattack is very difficult. It's like sometimes with creatures, sometimes with monsters, and most of the time with humans. So it's like 90% of the time, like with humans, you can parry as long as you want. You can hold that button and it will chip away at your health, but you can block their attacks.
Yeah.
Unless you do the parry and riposte, then that doesn't do any damage to you.
Although
But
I
with
found like people with bigger
Yeah,
weapons.
axes and shields are harder to parry. Yeah, so.
They go straight through me. I tried fighting
Yeah.
a guard by accident, and I swear it was by accident, guys. And it was just didn't work out very well for me. I parried right at the perfect moment because I fought a lot of humans, and still died.
Yeah, so finally I would like to just mention and talk about how excited I was and how I think that this really should be the new archetype for how physical copies are sold, because even though I had a bad experience with the GameStop with the bitch who was fucking sold out of the Witcher medallion keychain, because she started selling this shit at 6:00 p.m. and she told me to be there at 9. Yeah, okay, yeah, I was so upset. That was pretty much one of the reasons I wanted to be down there first day.
Did you get the sticker at least?
I got the 2 stickers. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. It's like the hard copy. This is how hard copies should be. You open up the fucking thing. You get 2 stickers, 2 Witcher stickers, a manual that
Soundtrack?
manual that has actually like information in it. Then you get a compendium of the universe explaining everything you need to know up to this point, and then you get a soundtrack CD.
And a very, very nice letter from the developer that just says thank you for all the support.
And they're
You
like,
get free DLC forever because you bought our game.
Yeah.
Thanks for supporting it and actually buying it, not downloading it.
yeah,
Also,
exactly.
the map, like, that's another thing. Like, I love maps of games. Like, I think EverQuest was the first game that I ever bought with a map in it. But, like, I remember just, like, opening up EverQuest and on the way home, like, on the ride home, like, studying the map. Like, oh, this is where, like, this is and that. Like, it's just really cool to see.
My favorite map in a video game was Skyrim because they actually put it on parchment paper.
Oh, yeah.
And that was just aesthetically pleasing. I was like, ooh, it feels like I'm going to burn the edges just so I'm, like, visually in Skyrim.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, can we go around and do final words on Witcher 3 so far?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Who wants to start?
I'll start. Fucking awesome.
Better than Skyrim, even though I've never played Skyrim. Skyrim killer.
Oh,
Skyrim.
oh, maybe.
Nowhere closely comparable to Skyrim.
Oh.
But it's a lot like Dragon Age, and I feel like it's Dragon Age with a little bit more mobility, maybe a little bit too much. And the menu system's really complicated, but I'm looking forward to exploring it more.
I'll revise that and change my answer to just national pride.
I would like to say that it's a game where you play as Batman meets Commander Shepard, and who kills monsters, and you live in Skyrim. So you can't really ask for anything better because it combines all of those elements.
Or Westeros.
Or Dragon Age Redemption.
Oh, that would be a good title for it, considering how far the Dragon Age series has gone down the toilet. So.
Ooh, well, I think
burn.
Inquisition was pretty good, but that's it.
Hey, okay, I was spoiled on Inquisition. I played it for like the first 15 minutes on a PS4, and I almost creamed myself. And then I bought it for the PlayStation 3, and none of the graphics would load.
It looks
and
so
I
bad.
Hate it. I hate it now because it's like there's not enough sweat on my NPCs for me to enjoy this game for what it should be. It's a next gen game. It's a next gen title. I should have glistening lips on every single NPC in that game on PlayStation
PS4.
3. I see, and I want to, but it's already on PlayStation 3. Stop doing that, game companies, by the way. I spent $40 on Final Fantasy X for the PlayStation 3,
Now
and
they
2
release it
months
for
later
it,
you
yeah.
come out for it on the PlayStation 4, and it looks so much better. Like, stop it.
Yeah. All right, we should probably wrap this up because we're going a bit long. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about on the next podcast, I'd guess.
Yeah. So do we want to do any shout outs, any thanks?
Well, thanks Magnus Fusifer. He's always...
We can't hear you, what?
Magnus Fusifer, he's always supporting us.
I want to thank you guys for being my friends.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing.
I want to thank Peter for pushing me to get a PlayStation 4 because I was really against it and really worried about it. And then the second I played Grand Theft Auto in first person, I was like, what was I mad about? What? This is fun.
I would like to say thank you to the couple that tipped me $20 on a $40 bill after having an hour-long conversation about video games and, mentioning this podcast to them and then them saying that they'll check it out. And if that was you, you know who you are, and thank you.
Did you get their names?
I didn't care.
Oh, well, if they're listening, they're like, that guy, he didn't care.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure he's joking. But yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Put
I'm gonna
your
go with
name in the description.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Eric. You know?
They were Destiny players.
Thank
so-
you. Hey, whoa.
Which is it's fine.
Destiny's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
So
it's a game still, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, technically, like, sometimes we like to play games on, like, easy mode, right? Like...
All right, and I'd like to thank Brooklyn for being here and being awesome.
Yeah, thanks for letting me chime in the little that I know what I'm talking about.
Hell yeah.
Next week, Brooklyn's gonna do the podcast all by herself.
Solo podcast.
That's right. She's gonna play 20 games in that amount of time.
That would actually be fun, and to like give you an hour's worth of games and have you play 10 minutes, like 6 games, obviously, because that's how long an hour is. Play 10 minutes of each of those 6 games, and then like have her reactions. That'd be fun.
Drunk.
Ooh. Awesome.
Oh.
Brooklyn's drunk video game session.
Yes,
Welcome
that'd be
to
great.
Brooklyn's Drunk Video Game Session. All right, we got it. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Just so you know, we will be moving all of these, migrating all of these podcast episodes to YouTube, with only the 2 most recent, maybe likely the most recent being on SoundCloud because of the time restrictions. Sorry if that's less convenient. We'll probably make it available for download somewhere and eventually get an RSS feed so you can listen to it via your podcast, whatever apps.
Bye.
Now that wasn't too painful, was it? We'll see you again next week.